God.
John's done it again. John has brought us into the hot open.
Every
What a man.
week. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the only thing better than the Pope. Ipswich's Premier League season. They have also been confirmed as relegated. I told you I had one in the pocket for today.
Interesting fact for you, John. That's the first time all three teams have been confirmed with 4 league games to go.
Really?
Yeah.
It is the earliest in Premier League history that the 3 teams relegated have been confirmed. It
is a bizarre season for reasons we'll get into a little bit later. There's a couple of outside observer aberrations that are worth pointing out. Also, I would like to thank you, John, because despite that joke that you just managed to sneak in there, you followed my request and didn't drop any C-bombs. So I guess this is progress. We're getting cleaner. That's good.
Step by step.
It's a long podcast, Jimmy. Yeah. Let's not break out the champagne just yet.
We just don't talk about that man, and we're not going to talk about that man today. It's fine. We have to talk about the mighty Wrexham, the real promotion story of the summer, the season even. Mm-hmm. You have Gary, who's obviously looking very happy with himself down in the corner.
Yes, I am.
Go on. May as well just get it out of the way.
I'm just going to...
Do we have to sing the special song? I'm not going to sing the song.
We're not singing the song.
I actually love the song. I really love the song. I think the message is glorious. But anyway.
Look, it's been a long time, but back on our perch. I'm delighted with it. It was great to look. I've been skeptical all season. We know that. Yesterday, finally, I can actually relax and enjoy the last 4 games of the season now that Liverpool are Premier League champions with 4 games to spare. And look, I don't think anybody can argue that they deserve it. There has been a bit of chatter on the different social media sites and whatnot that it was an easy league. City fell off, Arsenal fell off, etc. And that's the only reason why Liverpool have won. To be fair, they've lost 2 league games all season.
I was going to say, yes, both teams have fallen off, but
Liverpool have.
Liverpool have been very clean this season.
They've been efficient. They've been super, super efficient. They've lost 2 games all season, 1 to Fulham away, 1 Nottingham Forest at home. If they win their last 4 games, they'll end up with 92 points. That's enough to win most league titles. Probably not in the last 5 years.
Most years. It's massive. Yeah. It's absolutely massive.
It's huge. So we can't deny that City have fallen off, Arsenal have fallen off, fine, but Liverpool have been exceptionally good this year, and fully deserved. And I was delighted that I'm delighted that they were able to win it in front of their fans, because the COVID win left a bit of a sour taste, having to celebrate with an empty stadium, albeit in a spectacular setup when they lifted the trophy. Something didn't feel right. And if you look at the scenes yesterday with the fans, both inside and outside the stadium, Liverpool have this special connection with their fans in the city. And to be able to lift their first Premier League title in front of their fans, their second one overall, is special. It's special for every Liverpool fan out there, be it actually over there in person or watching anywhere within the world.
Our good friend Marty was obviously over there yesterday. He has some nice footage of the third goal. It's up on the Goose TikTok page, so go have a look at that. It's actually some beautiful, beautiful footage. I have 3 takeaways from the game yesterday. There's 3 things. There's one really beautiful thing. There's one fucking hilarious thing. And then there's probably one of the greatest pieces of marketing you'll ever see thing.
Glad you're getting there, because I was about to ask, what phone did Marty get some good shots on?
They were actually his meta glasses, would you believe?
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah,
that's a twist. That's very, very goosed. That's very
technical. All right,
yeah. So head over there, check out what Marty and the other boys, aka myself, Dino, and Alex, are up to. But yeah, no. More importantly, the first thing that I want to pull out from yesterday was, Gary, you obviously saw the moment when the Liverpool fans started singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," and Virgil van Dijk obviously pulled the whole team backroom staff. He's the guy who stood on the edge of the box and gathered all the team in a line. It was a really, really nice moment. You could see the men kind of standing there holding back tears. It was really fucking nice to see.
It was. And look, I've I've been lucky enough to be at Anfield twice, one for a European game years ago, and one more recently at a league game. And I'm a 40-something-year-old man, and I'm not ashamed to say when I'm in Anfield and that starts breaking out, it does hit you emotionally.
Yeah.
And you could see that with the players yesterday when they lined up. It also showed for me just on that point who the leader in that team really, really is, because Van Dijk was screaming at people to get in. He was not taking any crap from anybody. They were getting in that line whether they liked it or not.
Yeah.
And he pulled them in pretty quick, but it was a special moment.
It was very nice to see. The thing I found hilarious, and I don't know if Eve came across this story on the artist formerly known as Twitter's X, the Everton fan who decided to be part of Liverpool's big day. He went and bought 10,000 blue flares, peeled off the stickers, and put 10,000 red stickers on them and sold them outside of Anfield. So in random pockets of the crowd and in the stadium, you just have like a lonely blue flame pocketed here and there. Now, obviously, not many fans fell for it, but there was enough that you got little pockets of blue in and outside the stadium. And there's obviously just some Evertonians sitting at home going, "Fuck them all."
I have to say, the banter from Everton fans. Look, the rivalry is legendary. All the way back to the start of Liverpool's history, but the banter out of Everton fans is second to none. I mean, the blue flares yesterday was fantastic. Everton have a sports shop in Liverpool 1, which is an area in Liverpool similar to, I suppose, the north side of Dublin, and big shopping area. They called the shop Everton 2. So the address is Everton 2, Liverpool 1. Which I think is fantastic. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So, love the banter out of those lads. They're great. They are great. I have a lot of love for...
That was pretty good. That brought me a little bit of joy to that game.
And I have a lot of love for Toffee fans, I have to say.
I have to talk about the third piece. The iconic picture that's going to resonate from this whole Premier League season. That moment where Mo Salah took the photograph. It might be the greatest piece of marketing you'll ever see, because that's not an organic thing where it was a person from the crowd. If you actually watch the clip, it's a steward who hands him the phone. What phone is it, you ask? It's a Google Pixel 9, who are very recently announced as Liverpool's official phone sponsor. So they managed to wedge in a thing during the game where they win the Premier League, where the Google Pixel 9 is going to be pulled out. If Mo Salah scores, get him to whip out the phone and take a selfie with the crowd. That selfie is going to be worth a fortune, by the way. But then also, every time that Sky Camera moment, because that's going to be the Sky Camera moment, when every TNT Sports, when CBS Sports, when all these guys do their Premier League highlight reel, it's going to be that shot of Mo Salah taking the selfie with the crowd. That phone is in that picture for the next 20 years. Well done, Google.
Well done, Google. Well done, Google. The sponsors of this week's podcast. No, I'm kidding. We're not affiliated with Google. It'll be great. No, they played that beautifully. I have an outside observation on this league. And I would love to know from you guys who've been watching football a lot longer than me if this has happened before. But this season has both one clearly dominant team and is still considered one of the most competitive in over a decade. Like, we've talked about this thing where the top 10 might as well be the top 3. Everybody's a danger. Everybody's a threat to everybody. It's really, really competitive. And yet, to be fair to Liverpool, when you stop and catch your breath, a couple of different teams popped their heads up and had a tilt. They all had a shot at the king. They all got Jackie Chan back down into second, third, and fourth place. It was City, it was Chelsea, it was Forest, it was Arsenal. But it was Liverpool the whole way through. Apart from that Forest defeat and the one that John won't let go of, which is the loss to Fulham 2 weeks ago, they were on top the whole way through, and they will be on top until the very, very end. And that's fine. But my understanding is that usually in the years where that happens, it's not really seen as competitive. There was a kind of City won again, roll of the eyes thing for a couple of years. Whereas this season, you have all of these really good teams. Like, you can't say they were the only team in it that there wasn't competition for them. There was really good competition.
Do you know what it is? What? It's the jeopardy factor, right? So even in some of City's little, romps to the titles that they may or may not have bought, you will see things where, Joe, they were the Centurions the year that, yeah, I'll say what I'll say. Don't look at me like that. You had like the year of the Centurions where Liverpool ran them all the way to the wire on that. Like that game, that wasn't done until it was done. This year, Liverpool, everybody knew in February Liverpool had this one. The only people who didn't want to say it in February was Liverpool. Everybody else is like, this is done. Nobody was stepping up to the plate. Over the last few years, Liverpool have been the ones running City to the post. Liverpool got very early this year.
Yeah, I think to Jimmy's point, look, as regards of the title race, it hasn't been the most competitive. Absolutely not. And in hindsight, looking back on it now, because if you didn't know, Liverpool are champions. In hindsight, it was
every time you say Liverpool are champions, you give this little close of the eyes and like a slight moment of saucy pleasure. You go, Liverpool are champions.
Liverpool are champions. But it hasn't been the most compelling title race in history. But I think if you look at from 3rd to 8th or 9th, that has been super, super competitive. And up until recently, anybody down as far as 8 or 9 had a shout at getting into that top 5, into that Champions League spots. And that's made it very, very interesting. Those teams all the way down, and actually you could probably include Arsenal in there because their form has fallen off in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Any one of those teams could beat any of the other teams in that top 9. Or in that 2nd to 9, if that makes sense. It has been super, super, super competitive.
I'm going to go against you a little bit there. I think it's been a weak Premier League season. Not shitting on Liverpool's parade. I mean, we're on week 34. We know the relegated teams. We know the champion. We know the top 8 teams. There's nothing. We're going into the last month of the season with literally one position in the table, which is a variable, and nobody cares. Do you know what I mean?
Well, unless Palace win the cup.
So I can't.
Premier League season. It's not been a vintage year. Like, you're not going to look back at it like the Centurion year, or City's treble year, or United 2008 or.
No. I'd agree with you there. The only historic thing really that's happened is Liverpool have gotten their 20th title. They're back on the perch beside United, etc. And that is historic. That's fine. Yeah. Quality-wise, has it been the best Premier League season in history? No, it hasn't. But there's a difference between quality and competitiveness. And if you look at, the championship, which the league below the Premier League, is widely regarded as the most competitive league in world football because you never know who's going to win it.
Yeah.
Right. Or anything, and you could probably stick a pin in about 13 teams, and one of those could be promoted. Ipswich last year being the example. Is the quality great? No, because again, we've seen that the 3 teams that were promoted last year are going straight back down. Happened last season as well. So the quality isn't there. But from a competitive perspective, I would say this has probably been one of the better seasons in that regard. Because again, on the day, any one of those teams between 2nd and 9th could win or lose against whoever they're playing in the league.
Yeah, I'm with you, Gar. I'm with you. I think that adds a dimension of excitement to it because it goes beyond just the chase for the top. I mean, a large number of football fans are now still chasing. There can't ever have been this many chasing Europe at this stage, or this many in danger of losing it at this stage.
There has
been.
What
I mean?
Yeah, there has been. I think
times you've had like the iconic one where Spurs got the shits on the last game of the season and lost their Champions League spot, which was glorious.
That was glorious, to be fair. But I think there's a couple of elements to that. It has been coming into the last couple of games of the season, but you could generally tell who was going to win and who was going to, finish in the European spots. The fact that there's more European spots this year has probably added that extra element to it as well, because there's more teams who can qualify, etc. And Palace's run to the FA Cup final, which adds another element to it, that potentially there could be an extra place because City may or may not get Champions League football. But that has all added to that excitement, though.
Yeah.
So it has been an exciting season.
I'm looking forward to when we get to the end of the season, and then we're going to do our, Premier League Team of the Season podcast. We're going to do our end of season awards where we pick like the most underrated player. Blog on that on the over at statterdraft.com, by the way. Little shameless plug there. But we'll do like the player of the year, Jimmy's stat man of the year, fucking biggest disappointment of the year, Andres Pereira. But anyway, we'll get onto that when we do that episode.
Like, it's
all
in their
got to be Mo
entirety.
Salah, isn't it? He's going to win all the important stuff, and it's going to be Salah.
Player of the year?
Maybe not.
He'll win player of the year.
Speaking as a numbers man, like there's three of us in here. John plays lots of football, and he will say Salah for the playing. I look at numbers, and I will say Salah for the numbers. Gary, what are you wearing? I mean, could it possibly be anyone other than Salah?
No.
Really? Because there's no other name that fits. There's no other name that you could make a case has been more important to this season than Mo Salah. Maybe Arne Slot, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a good point, Jimmy, but it does kind of, I suppose, bring me on to something which I had a little bit of an issue with, and that was Salah's interview after the game. He did.
Do tell.
Yeah. So straight after the game, and look, I will caveat this by saying emotions are high, and in general, sports people, when emotions are high, are not the most intelligent folks on the planet. And we've seen that across different sports. We've seen it with Shane Lowry at the Masters recently as well. But he did indicate that he certainly gave the impression that all of this success that Liverpool have had this year is down to him. Now, the tactical switches have meant that he's been able to produce, which he has. There's no question around that, but he is not bigger than the team. He is not bigger than the club. And there was a little inkling of, I'm Mo Salah. This wouldn't be here without me.
Good thing he
which is fine, but it's also, but it wouldn't be there without Virgil, without Alisson, without McAllister. Those three players have also been instrumental in this league win. Salah has been the linchpin. That's fine, but he hasn't been the only cog in that wheel that's won it.
So
and he just gave that impression.
Does Trent stay or go now?
Well, look, with all of the controversy that's going on at Madrid at the moment, and I'm not sure if Ancelotti is still there or not. But the rumors,
who cares?
But the rumors, if Ancelotti is gone, I'm wondering whether or not Trent wants to understand what the plan is for.
And it's Xabi Alonso and it's Real Madrid, and you carry on about your day.
I just need to take a moment here, gentlemen, and say once again, with regard to some comments that were made last week on the topic of Madrid's most famous football team, I would like to clarify the very strong comment that I made last week, and just so we're absolutely clear, fuck Real Madrid.
Just double down. And yet I can't give out about Mikel Arteta. I'm not allowed to give out about Mikel Arteta, but you can. You know what? Not happy.
Double standards working for me. No, Trent will still go. Trent will still go because it's the logical move for him.
He'll go. He will go. I think it's clutching at straws to think that he'll stay. Watching the scenes yesterday, I was actually saying it to the people who I was watching it with, wondering whether or not the cameras would pan to Trent. Well, that scene where they're in front of the cop, etc., and they did right at the end. And he didn't look like a player who was tied to the club. Now, that's fine. That's fair enough. He's entitled to go wherever he wants to go.
You also never know what's happening in the background. Like, I listen to some podcasts by some ex-pros, like the Peter Crouch podcast, the Fozcast. I listen to these guys, and it's very fascinating when they tell certain aspects of like club culture stuff. It's like if you're an academy player, they'll go to you basically, sure, Mo and Virgil are probably rocking 400k contracts now, but because he's an academy prospect, they'll go, we'll give you 220 because you love the club, right? But you pure love the club, right? So why would you be asking for that money if you pure love the club? And then they'll sit there and go, well, if they're worth that, and I'm the photo op, I'm the boyhood hero here, why am I not getting the same money? It's like, because you love the club, you can't ask for that kind of money. Yeah. And they'll try to do that. A lot of clubs try to do that crack.
Yeah, there is definitely an element of that, but that's not just a Trent thing. That's
a professional football thing.
Yeah, that's a local boy makes big at teams.
Can I ask, is that what happened with Kevin Kelleher's contract? Because he's As far as I know, on something really low for a pro footballer, like 20 a week or 10 a week or something, he's getting paid way
He's
less
not
than
the
the rest of the
lowest paid in
squad.
that dressing room either. But he's also a second choice goalkeeper that came up through the academy, so he hasn't signed. This is also part of the reason why it's time for him to go, is because this contract is the contract as well. You have Curtis Jones, who's on silly small money, like silly small money.
These are all academy players.
Yeah, they're all players who've come up through the system.
That's not a Liverpool problem. It's a club thing. Like Gary Neville used to do his own contracts with United, just walk in and go, "That's the figure I want." Cool, bye. And that was his approach. You had for years, like you'd even hear from the likes of Peter Crouch and stuff like that when he was coming up at QPR, I believe it was, before he went over to Spurs and stuff like that. And it was just basically like, I have to go. Like, that's just how it is. Sorry, I have to go. And it's that kind of thing. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some of that kind of political pullery happening in the background there, where it's like, I want to be paid the same as the boys because I'm as worth the same as the boys. And you've got that clutching at the loyalty play.
100%. Look, that absolutely is going on. At the end of the day, Fenway Sports are a business. They're in business to make money, and if they can save $100,000 a week on one player by playing the loyalty card and pulling at the heartstrings, etc., of course they're going to do it.
Like,
there's no two ways about it.
Clear Lake down at Chelsea would have sold John Terry.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's what you're dealing with here. But can we actually, like, on the topic of football as businesses, one of the best run football businesses at the moment, I'm wearing their jersey today, the boys from Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, the story that is Wrexham Football Club. Holy fucking duck. Like, are they not the owners that every club wants to have?
Like, 100%. They absolutely are. Like, it's 3 promotions in 3 seasons after spending, what was it, 15, 16 years in non-league football.
Bought the club for £2 million.
Yeah, bought the club for £2 million after
$100 million in the 4 years they've been in charge.
Yeah, after Rob McElhenney basically slid into Ryan Reynolds' DMs and says, "Hey, do you want to buy a football club in Wales?" And he went, "Yeah, I'll have a bit of that." It's been an absolute pleasure to watch, I have to say. Don't get me wrong, I am a Liverpool fan, but I do have a soft spot for Wrexham, and have had for a long.
I think a lot of people do now because of the documentary. They do.
I've had a soft spot for Wrexham for a long, long time, going back to when I played schoolboy football for Bohemians. Wrexham versus your beloved Brighton, Jimmy, was the first game I actually got to see in England.
Really?
Yeah, funnily enough, in Wrexham Stadium during a summer trip as a schoolboy footballer. So I've always had a little bit of a graph for Wrexham, even while they played non-league football.
That's why I have the Seattle Sounders jersey up, because they're like my American team from getting to see them when I was over there. So I totally get that. You go to see a team that you would never really see, and you're like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that.
I'll have a bit of that. Absolutely. And to think now that they're going to be playing against clubs who are in the Premier League this year, like they're going to be playing against Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton in the Championship next year, is
James McLean is their captain.
James McLean is the captain, but they've been very shrewd in some of their signings. Like McLean, who has obviously Premier League experience, but over the last couple of years has been playing in clubs in the Championship and in League One, so knows about that, is as tough as nails. Jay Rodriguez, great character to have, absolutely.
We're going to get pelters from this, from like English watchers.
Yeah, we will.
James McLean being James McLean.
John,
the guy bleeds whoever he plays for.
Guys, I'm confused. I know little about football. Why would people have a problem with 3 Irish lads saying James McLean was a good guy?
Do you want to talk about this topic?
What sort of football fan would object to that?
It's about the poppy.
What's a poppy?
Are we going to do this, John?
No, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this.
I know more than I'm letting on.
I was like, no, we're not going to end. But
forced gestures are meaningless. But anyway,
this year they're going to obviously talk about his son and his stuff at home, and you've already seen a bit of that with the likes of Ollie Palmer and Paul Mullins, where they talked like the documentary is really good because it really shows the human side of football. And yeah, I know it's lower tiers where it's lower money and it's not as flash and brass, but like you've got guys in that dressing room now, like James McLean, like before you had a Ben Foster, you've got Jay Rodriguez in there now. You have fellas who've played at that level, but they're very, the thing that seems to strike me about that club with the way Phil Parkinson, the manager, has done things, and just from everything you see online and through the boys, it's about character first. They sign good lads.
Yeah, they absolutely have. And I think, was it Elliot Lee, I think, who had to take a year off because his wife was ill. And there was no question about it. He went into the manager, he went into the owners, and he said, look, I have to look after my family, I have to look after my personal life. That has to come first. Now, I'm sorry, but if any Premier League footballer walks into any Premier League club says that, it's like, okay, fine, contract terminated. That didn't happen at Wrexham. They went, we'll support you as much as you need. You take the year off, you do you, and do what you need to do and look after your wife and family. And he's come back and he's been an absolute revelation.
There was one club that, again, in the outside perspective, seemed to very much look after someone that ceased to be an asset some time before. And I'm thinking here of Phil Jones and Man United. They seem
Man United
to have
are
really
actually
looked after
very
him,
good
to
at
be
this.
fair.
Man United are historically very good at this. You've had things like obviously Phil Jones. Before that, you had Darren Fletcher when he was sick with his stomach issue. They kept that under wraps for a whole fucking year. Like they basically waited for him to turn free. You've had even like James Sancho with under Ten Hag. They gave him 3 months off to go sort out some personal life stuff. You've had Brandon Williams, who admittedly they've had to let go to the wayside because of some personal life stuff. They've had Ravel Morrison. They've had loads of guys down the years where they've helped them with personal shit. It's why everybody used to say Gaza could have been saved if Ferguson got a grip of him. Probably not.
I mean, look, it's clearly not a very fun profession to be in when that real life stuff hits, because everything you do, like you literally can't trip over your shoelaces without a million people seeing it. And then you've got the added dimension of social media. So if Wrexham are the kind of team that look after players going through capital S stuff, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. Their championship this year?
They're going into the championship.
Could they do it a fourth time?
They could easily go. They've got what they've got is they've got panache. They've got the little bit of sparkle dust. They've like Birmingham are the other team that have come up with them. Like they've got NFL money behind them as well. With like
the Tom Brady as co-owner, don't they?
Yeah, and is it Watts that's over Burnley as well? So you've got three rich Americans that kind of get sports. Like Rob McElhenney isn't an athlete. He's obviously It's Always Sunny, but he's a big sports fan. Always was, being from where he's from. Like it's a cultural thing. And what's actually funny is they wanted to buy a club in Ireland initially, but because of the access route to European football and the way the ladder was, they looked for cheaper routes and decided Wales for the stack. They initially were looking at an Irish club because of the Irish roots of Rob McElhenney.
Yeah,
that's a pity. That's an opportunity missed.
Yeah,
imagine Treaty FC right now.
Yeah,
big miss. But look, yeah, they could potentially go 4 for 4 promotions in 4 years. The players that they have championship experience, some of them Premier League experience.
Some of them are very old.
Some of them are very old, but are weather beaten and hardened as well. A lot of it will depend on who they bring in this summer.
Jamie Vardy. He's got it written all over him.
Yeah, he's got
one big banner. Chat shit, get bang, Jamie Vardy party.
Jamie Vardy to Wrexham, it just makes more sense than any transfer I've ever had, speculated about. His story.
They're going to give him his movie.
Exactly. They're going to give him his movie, moving from non-league football to a Premier League winner. It's got Hollywood epic written all over it. He's going to sign for Wrexham and he's going to bring them back to the Premier League.
Is this a perfect time to, that's a perfect transition to the Jamie Vardy conversation, because we need to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the absolute psychopath, the man with the greatest celebrations in recent
the biggest shithouser in recent Premier League history. And I love it.
The biggest. He's up there, though.
He's up there. He's up there.
Who played for Maupay. Neil Maupay is number one by a distance. He's just an absolute bag, like.
No. Sorry, I still think Jamie Vardy going over and doing the Eagle celebration in front of Crystal Palace fans is just brilliant. Or telling the
I
Arsenal
mean,
fans to shut the fuck up. It's just been,
not to mention the fact that he was part of a team that was probably the best story in football I've ever
The
encountered.
5,000 to 1.
5,000 to 1 shot.
17th to 1st in the
Jamie
Premier League.
Vardy signed from Fleetwood for at the age of 25 for 1 million quid. And people were like, are you fucking having a laugh? 2 years before that, he was making stents.
That's nuts. Like,
Do you know
it's
what I mean?
absolutely
Like
nuts.
22,
Am I right in
23,
saying
he was working
that
in stents.
at the same time as he was coming into the Leicester squad, Harry Kane was there and neither of them was starting?
Yep.
And they let Kane go.
Kane was on loan.
Fair enough. But
no,
look, it's the fairy tale of fairy tales.
Jamie Vardy, 13 years later, what's it, 148 Premier League goals, record for most consecutive goals in the league, beating his now manager Ruud van Nistelrooy's record. Like,
before promptly stopping scoring for the season and watching his team get relegated, but moving along.
Also one of the greatest sign-offs from a season you'll ever see. Sorry, this season has been such a shit show. If you haven't seen that post, please. This, like, the final sign-off line, you can tell a PR company wrote the first 2 paragraphs and the last paragraph was all Jamie
was
Vardy.
all him.
He was like,
Yeah.
And while I'm at it, this season was an utter shit show. And that was the sign-off. And you go, do you know what? Cool. Like, I don't know. You don't see stories like that anymore in the Premier League.
No, you don't. And he is a Premier League. He's absolutely a Premier League legend. There's no two ways about it. And there has to be a bit of kudos given to him as well, because he could have easily moved on from Leicester. I know at one point Arsenal were looking at him, and I think they'd actually triggered his buyout clause at one point, and he just went no, for whatever reason. I don't know whatever the reason is, but he decided to stay at Leicester, when he could have gone on to bigger and better things. To be fair to him, he has been a character in the Premier League. He will be missed next season. I have a funny feeling he might be back at some point in the future.
I think he's going to do 2 more years, and it's going to be Wrexham. And if they get promoted, he'll hang on for 1 more year. It's going to be like, I still love his pre-match routine. He is the most unfootballer. Like, he's just got iconic moments. You have the party in his house the night Leicester won the league, when they were obviously watching the game at home, and he's there with a box of blue wickets, getting absolutely radar, screaming "Chat chick, get banged." Like, he's just a chav. It's fucking beautiful. Like, you've got that. You've got the. Do you know his pre-match routine is?
It's probably a can of Red Bull and a sausage sandwich or something.
No, it's glorious. So, night before a game, half a bottle of port. Wakes up, can of Red Bull with some toast. Goes to the game, 2 cans of Red Bull and a packet of snus. And then before you go out on the pitch, 1 more can of Red Bull and another packet of snus up the lip, and out you go. That man is seeing the past, future and present all at the same time every second he walks. He's had 4 cans of Red Bull and two packets of snus by like.
We're talking here about a 37-year-old formerly Premier League footballer, and I cannot imagine the state of his arteries. I will say this for the man, and again, it's an observation, remembering as best I can. Just after that Leicester win, there seemed to have been 3 groups of players, right? After the Leicester win, there was the super big names who were plucked immediately: Mahrez, Kante, right?
Danny Drinkwater,
Harry Maguire, huge names.
Danny Simpson.
Then you had, I think, a year or 2, and Leicester took the drop, and then the guys who could get away with it jumped ship, and then the third group was the ones who stayed and went down because nobody wanted them. Jamie Vardy is the 4th group. Jamie Vardy is the group who went down for the fucking crack. He could have gone to a host of clubs. Whatever about after the win, whatever about Arsenal, when they went down, he became a very, very hot fucking product. Yeah. And he went, you know what? No, good luck. Loyalty. I'm with them. Love it. Absolutely love it.
And that's not something you see. That's a rarity. That's an absolute rarity. You're totally right, Jim. You're totally right. And he does deserve praise for that. So, totally. He'll be missed. He will be missed. But he absolutely deserves he definitely deserves the praise for that.
And just so you know, just so we're clear, if he does come back up with Wrexham the year after next,
you're going to get him.
He will be 40 years old.
And you will still.
And I will draft him.
Do you know what it is? But do you know what the thing is there? It's like you've just got some guys who can just do it. And I think even at that age, he'll come up, do 10 minutes off the bench here and there and still be effective. But like,
put the presence in the dressing room as well. That'll serve Wrexham really well. Now, look, we're speculating here, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet. It has to. It has
sooner
to
or later. Yeah.
But
only one that makes sense.
Age 40, is he going to be able to play 38 games a season, 90 minutes a game? No, he isn't. But that's not why you sign a player like Jamie Vardy when you're going, if you make it to the Premier League or trying to compete in the Championship. You sign him to be able to come off the bench for the last 20 minutes and make a goal.
10 goals a season, done, move along.
Games at 1-1, it's in the balance. You bring Vardy on, he runs past the last defender and slots it in the bottom corner. It's those 3 points that get you promoted. It's those types of margins, particularly in the Championship. And Dermot will know a lot more about this, to be fair, than I would, being a Leeds fan. It's those margins that make the difference when you're talking football in the Championship and pushing for promotion to the Premier League. So that's why you sign Jamie Vardy.
Gary, I love how we wrote about the topics we loved this week. Like you obviously wrote about the article on the 5 matches that framed Liverpool season. So, obviously go check out that blog over on the site. And then I did my love letter to Jamie Vardy, which will be published in the near future. And it is a bit of a love letter. It's like, because Jimmy, I believe he's the last active player from when we started again.
One of two. Just on the all two doing our chosen topics this week, just so you know, I did numbers, obviously. But Gary also wrote a love letter to Jamie Vardy. We just haven't published it yet. So, we love Jamie out here. We love him.
We all love
for
Jamie
these
Vardy
two to write the same, not the same tribute, but to just both come out and go, what's going on in the world this week? Well, Liverpool won the league. Real have gone insane. But that Jamie Vardy, he's irresistible. So, yeah, have a look at StatterDraft.com. Lots of cool content and also me shouting about spreadsheets occasionally.
Can we talk about? Is it time to talk about the spreadsheets? Go on.
I think it probably is. For a brief league update in the Hell Week, the one that every coach either fears or loves.
Confirmed my playoff spot, though.
Well, almost. We'll see on Thursday night. At the moment,
shithousery from Gary. Some shithousery from Jimmy.
No shithousery from me.
You are literally turning Damien's team around and picking up. Like, this is the most fucking fantasy football shenanigans. It's like, I can't play in the playoffs now, so what am I going to do? You have the vultures all going around sniping from the fucking lads who have nothing left to play for, going, want to piss off John? Let's drop Alec McAllister. Let's go get everything from Damien.
To be fair,
I'm 15 points clear of you. Nothing in my life is about this. I don't think about your team at all. 15 points. Not thinking about you at all. I'm thinking about the other guy who's level with me. You're fighting for fourth. I'm in a solid first. 4 of the 5 this week are settled. In terms of results, John has beaten Kim. No real pride in that. Dermot has squeaked a win over Gary. 12.5 points there, but Dermot's got some players to play, so sorry, Pep. Dino has lost to Dave, which is the most significant because unless Dino picks up 40 points in tomorrow's match, John and Dave go through to the semi-finals to meet myself and Dermot, and the order of that still to be determined. And Joey has beaten Damo in what is the lowest scoring game of the season so far. Score is currently just under 25 to just under 16. Damo's team has recently made some interesting transfers that on the outside don't appear to benefit Damo and look like I'm just harvesting his players because he's checked out for the season. And the only reason John's complaining about that is because he didn't think of it first. But it does mean that we are pretty much, like Liverpool's season, we're pretty much settled. Sorry, the one game that isn't finished this week, the one game where there's still a bit of a battle on, is that I only lead Jack by 23. And he could pull that back. He's got Pinnock and he's got someone for Forest. Can't remember who. But that one's still going till Thursday night. So the table is pretty much settled. It's going to be the Kavanagh brothers on 78 points each right now, 15 points ahead of John and Dave. Dean, Gary, Jack, and Damo stay in the creamy centre, and Joey is in the Harrison with Kim. But wait, there's more. Because it's an elimination week, and this is where stuff is actually still very much on, like Donkey Kong and Gary's gone. So at the top is myself and John still battling it out, as seems to be the pattern in everything except the head-to-head this year. John leads me by 25 points. So it's 1,207 to 1,182. It's incredibly tight margin. We're talking literally 1.5%. So it's really tight. After that, there's a bit of a gap. Jack is looking pretty safe now. He's still got players to play. He's on 10.53, putting him ahead of Gary. And here's where it gets tricky for you, my friend, because Gary, you're out of rope. You have no players left to play. You are ahead of Dermot by 22. Dermot still has Elanga, Son, Wood, Damsgaard, and Murillo. So it's almost impossible that he doesn't pick up 22 points from those 5.
Yeah.
However, we have seen some record negative scores this year. It is possible that you stay up if Norgard goes to a -13. That's an own goal and a red card. It's not bloody likely, but we've seen
an own goal and a red card across the group is probably enough.
Yeah. An own goal and a red card will do it. I think Dermot's safe. I think Gary's going out, which is really interesting because it means Semenyo, Sarr, Marmouche, Tonali, Rice, Palmer, McAllister, Trippier, Kirkes, Estupinian, and Kepa are all up for grabs. As of 10 o'clock on Thursday, and fastest fingers first.
This is why I love the Eliminator. We're at the point now where, but this is why I love the Eliminator. We're at the point now where it's super teams and form players.
Yeah.
My team is form players. Like I went and got
mine's a super team.
I went in and got a Barnes at the right time. I've been dropping and plucking, whereas Jimmy's trying to.
I'm playing long game. It's not often I do this. Most years in the Eliminator, I think where I fall, well, I did win it last year, but most years in the Eliminator where I fall down is the over-tinkering thing. Yeah. And I'm looking at the week and I'm in the bottom going, how do I stay off the bottom? Whereas this year, I'm looking at the quality of players and as soon as they're available, I'm grabbing them. Like my front 3 is Cunha, Mbeumo, and Salah.
Yeah.
Like my back 3 is Guardiola, Trent, and Porro. Like it's nuts. You start to assemble these insane squads and then one of them goes out. And there is an insane scramble for players because we can all only pick up 2 each. And I have no idea who anybody else wants. I'm not even sure who I want. There's a lot of shots.
Well, like if you look at my team, I'm quite stacked in a different way. Like I've got Alisson, Livramento, Saliba. They're all, but my 3 defenders are form defenders. Ait Nouri, Livramento, Saliba. My midfield is Odegaard, Barnes, Fernandes, Rodgers. Like my midfield is tanky. My front line is a bit loose.
I'm not sure. We keep talking about Odegaard like he's a fantasy football asset. He's the 5th highest scoring on his team this year. Midfielders, not even overall. He's the 5th highest midfielder for Arsenal this year. Yes, there have been injuries. The sad truth of Martin Odegaard is that what he brings to the pitch with Arsenal is not amazing passing ability or goals.
35 points in week.
Sorry, Jimmy, he's a leader.
35 points in week 32.
That's nice. He's still barely in the top 100 players overall. He's on page 5. If you're looking for him, he's on page 5.
I mean is I've gone and got him on at form time. Like he's
Arsenal are not on form right now, mate. No,
they're not on.
I think just with Martin Odegaard, to be fair, this season is probably an outlier for him. Last season he was magic. He was very, very good. So I think like this season has absolutely been an outlier. I think next season he'll probably be one of those players who might just slip under the radar in the draft, and possibly fall to maybe 4th round, and somebody will pick him up and he'll have a stormer of a season.
He should be a 1st round draft pick. He
should be.
Been a second round.
And to be fair, based on what he did last year, you would think he might have been a late 1st round, early 2nd round pick. Yeah, I think he was, and that was just based on the season that he had. But I don't think that's going to happen next year for fear that he has a repeat of what's happened this year. Because he has been, Jimmy's right, he has been muck, albeit because of injuries and whatnot. But from a fantasy perspective, he hasn't been an asset.
No, but in the last 2 to 3 weeks he has been. And
he has hit a bit of form. But what you've got to be worried about now, John, is that now that the league is up, because the league is over, because if you don't know, Liverpool are champions, what's going to happen next is Arsenal. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm insufferable tonight. But Arsenal's focus now is purely Champions League.
Yeah.
So does Odegaard play in the Premier League for fear that he's not ready to go against PSG in the semi-final?
I think they play him in the tune-in games, the ones before the legs and not the ones between the legs.
So he's already played because the
I
Champions
know.
League is this week, isn't it?
I know what I'm saying there. Yeah. I know exactly.
I get it.
And then my front line then is a bit. My front line looks light, but it's been
I
stacking.
don't think you've got legs out front, mate. I
don't
like,
have
and I'm
legs,
not trying to
but
pick holes. This
what I
isn't
do have
I'm
is
so great, you're
But
not.
what I do have is transfers in form, like Jimenez. He's ready to be plucked. You have Ryan Sessegnon who's ready to be plucked.
I've nowhere to put these boys. Plain and simple. No, and I have the three best strikers in the league.
You bring in the form. Sessegnon is back. I was right to draft him at the start of the year. It's just a shame it took 8 months for his body to come back to placement. He's class.
I only picked him up to hurt you because you love Fulham and I love beating you. It's interesting though, Gary, what you said about players who get overlooked at draft. And I don't want to go on to a big long thing now because I'm conscious of the time. But first of all, I'll head over to Saturday Draft to have a look at who won the first round last year. But there were 4 really obvious, all attacking midfield players that got kind of overlooked at the draft because, by way of having been injured, the auto pick selections that we all look at, even if we have a game plan, we all see who's listed next and go, "Oh, actually, might have him instead." The auto pick didn't factor in the per game; it was only on total points, and obviously, Statter will do that a lot better when you see our draft room. You're going to plot, but the 4: Mitoma, Barnes, Maddison, and Mbeumo. These were all mid-draft, except for Maddison. Nobody drafted Maddison. Sorry, Barnes.
Crazy.
Nobody drafted Barnes.
Nobody
drafted Matt Sells.
Nobody
there was
would
crazy
expect
stuff.
Matt Sells though.
Well, Matt Sells wasn't the starting number 1.
Picked.
No, you couldn't.
But that's true.
He
wasn't the number 1 at Forest at the time.
No,
I think Hennessy wasn't he? Was it Wayne Hennessy? It was somebody else anyway. It was definitely somebody else. Yeah, at the start. So the sales piece you could probably overlook, but Mbeumo, and again, not to get into this in great detail, but Mbeumo falling as far as he did is criminal.
Absolutely, 9th round.
Absolutely criminal, considering how Ivan Toney has been in the previous seasons up from Brentford, and as soon as he left, how I'm actually very annoyed at myself that I didn't notice that.
I mean, there was literally one of the teams named after him, and none of us copped it till 9 rounds in.
This is the beautiful problem of draft night is when the beers are flowing, you have your list, you have your pre-prep list, like fucking barbecue style draft night. We're all sitting around like we did last year. We're all at home. You have your bit of, few burgers, your few beers. You have probably a player list of maybe 50 deep or something like that. Because you're not going. Some people go further. I know some people have 100 and 150 on their list. But what
different variations of different scenarios.
50 per position, John. Yeah. 50 per
position. Yeah. Look, everybody has different ways and styles here. But you get the transfer, which is I have X name down on my list. Jimmy calls it right before my go, and now I'm scrambling because I had loaded my transfer in my head. And now it's, oh, fuck, panic. You've got 4 or 5 different types of transfers on a draft night. You've got your pre-planned. You've got your, I've shit the bed and let autopick do it. I've got my, I'm running late because I was outside having a smoke or grabbing another beer and just...
Oh, I know one. There's a great one. It's called the, oh shit, I have to start picking defenders or my team will be illegal pick.
We have
those
the goalkeeper
are so much fun. The one where you're going, I'm going to get him, and the clock rundowns on the last guy, and you realize you've only got 3 defenders in your entire squad, and you need to pick something up fast. And it's like West Ham, Palace, Brentford, the goalie rush. I love the goalie rush because nobody wants to be the one to start it.
It's a domino
effect. As soon as it starts, everyone goes.
Yeah, it's great.
We're going to make a list of the different types of transfers, but my personal favorite is the Trent one last year, where you automatically knew once I picked him up, it was going to set Gary off. Like, you just had to pause the timer on the draft room and just let him have his minute of rent.
Yeah,
you just had to pause the draft and let him go off one,
because he was my next pick. Going back to that point of you have your pick loaded and ready to go, and Trent was coming up, and I think I picked straight after you, John, if I remember correctly, and you took Trent.
I was fourth.
There might have been 1 or 2 between us, I'm not sure, but it was pretty close, and you picked up Trent, and I had a bit of a moment, I won't lie. But this is the beauty of draft night. This is the beauty of draft night, and I would
Sure.
urge everybody to sign up to the waiting list and make sure that you get to experience it, because it is the most wonderful way to play fantasy football.
Look,
It
I'm
really
just
is.
going to do the big draft night pitch before we wrap this up, because like we're probably we're weeks away from having the game ready, maybe maybe a month or so. Basically, sometime over this summer, between now and the start of the next Premier League season, our app will be out there, and you're going to be able to play it. So what you need to do is you need to get your crew, get your 9-10 boys together. Go, right, we're going to play draft style fantasy football, and it's going to be carnage next year. Go to your local butchers, pick up the barbecue meat pack, head over to one of the boys' gaffs. Get in the garden. August bank holiday weekend. August bank holiday weekend. Barbecue on. Job done. 2.5 hours out in the garden. Beers, bullshit, and picking teams. It is class. And if you can piss off a Gary on the way through, or my personal favorite transfer is the Dina Hearn. The transfer that we're going to have to title the Dina Hearn, I shit my pants. I know Man United. They had Martin Dubravka last year. He's definitely going to be Newcastle's first choice goalkeeper, and I'm going to pick him alongside the goalkeeper who just retired, Hugo Lloris.
That was so. And he picked Lloris in like the 3rd round, but nowhere near a goalie run. It was the only time anyone has ever picked a goalie and it didn't start a goalie run, because we were all laughing too hard. And you could see him getting pure like, I'll show them. I'll show them how to pick a goalie. Martin Dubravka. What? That's your fallback?
That's
behind the most reliable fucking fantasy football goalkeeper of all time in Nick Pope. Yeah, top drawer. But it's a great night. It's a great night, and it sets the tone for the season. You get your mates together, you have some good times, you pick some teams, you slag the absolute living stuffing out of each other, and then the season starts, and we're going to be here all the way through. We'll keep you company in the summer too, don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here talking about summer football, however that works. I'm sure the lads will be educating me.
We'll have the Ballers League, we have the Women's Euros, we have the Club World Cup, we have the transfer window, we have
plenty to be talking about.
What?
We've plenty to be talking about.
We have shitting on Fabrizio Romano. That's going to be my topic of the summer.
And despite how the Liverpool fans are talking, we still have 4 weeks left of this season.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But yeah, draft night, lads. It's not that far away, and it always somehow feels like it is too far away. It's like my favorite.
I'm looking forward to this year's draft night. I'm very much looking forward to this year's draft. We're gonna have to do something special. Like, I know we're talking about doing some special stuff, but like, just like for the lads and Kim.
Have you decided on a suit yet? I'm sorry. Forgive me. A suit theme.
A suit theme.
A kind of a philosophy of fashion for your suit.
Well, I was just going to sew like the Fulham crest onto a white suit.
No, you can't do white suit. I'm robbing that. I'm going back to 1996 Spice Boys levels of white suit.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to get an inflatable dinosaur costume and put a Jordan Pickford jersey on it. Oh no, my arms are tiny.
One word, lads. Borat. And with that,
good night.
Peace out.
We'll leave you with that scary thought.
Well done, boys. We'll talk to you.